In his theory of ideas, also known as the theory of forms, Plato drew a distinction between two worlds. The world of physical objects, which we perceive with our senses, and the world of ideas, which we can grasp only through our intellect. Despite the evidence of our senses, the world of ideas is in fact the ultimate reality. Plato held that while individual things, this chair, her desk, myself, may change with time, the idea of chair, desk, and person outlasts all physical objects. Ideas are timeless, coherent, and more real than physical objects. For example, things are good because they participate in the idea of the good. When they pass away, goodness itself does not perish.
Plato's defense tended to be something like this. You've got one white sheet of paper, you've got another white sheet of paper. They've got something in common, whiteness, and so there's an entity, whiteness, that we have to believe in. Or maybe a better example would be we see all these different good things. We call them all good, but none of them are perfectly good. They seem to be, in fact, we never see anything that's perfectly good, but we have this idea of perfect goodness, so there must be this form of perfect goodness that all the different good things are imperfectly imitating.
Is that idea or essence, which in the dialectical process we define as essence of true existence, whether essence of equality, beauty, or anything else, are these essences, I say, liable at times to some degree of change? Or are they, each of them, always what they are, having the same simple, self-existent and unchanging forms, and not admitting of variation at all, or in any way, or at any time?
Plato's theory of ideas gave rise to the problem of universals, whose profound implications permeate philosophy. The notion of universals originated with the pre-Socratic philosopher Parmenides, who declared, "I have seen many men, but I have never seen man." The issue Parmenides raised is this: what's the difference between an ordinary name for something, this red car, for example, and general names, such as redness? What, if anything, do general names refer to? Is there something held in common by all particular things that are called by a general name?
The problem of universals is the problem of how to understand the phenomenon of sameness in diversity. How should we understand what's going on when we have many distinct things that are all the same in some way? All the ping pong balls that come off a certain assembly line have the same shape, they have the same color, they have the same weight, and so on. And yet they're all different from one another. One very natural way to describe this phenomenon is to say that the many ping pong balls all have something in common. In fact, they have several things in common: their shape, their color, their weight, and so on. But to say that they have things in common is to imply that in addition to the ping pong balls, there are these things that they have in common, namely shape, color, and so on. If there is such a thing as the whiteness that all the ping pong balls have in common, then it's present in each of them. It's multiply located.
The scholastic philosophers of the Middle Ages engaged in a furious debate on the nature of universals. The main positions they staked out were realism, nominalism, and conceptualism. If you believe that there is indeed an essence shared by all objects that have a general name in common, then you are a realist. Universals and abstract entities are real. Redness exists. If you hold, like Parmenides did, that the only thing shared by all the instances of a general name is the general name itself, then you are a nominalist. Universals and abstract entities are just names. Redness does not refer to anything real. The middle path between these two views is conceptualism. The position that universals exist not in words or objects, but in the internal mechanisms of the senses. Redness exists in my perception of something that is red. Conceptualism dates to Peter Abelard in the 12th century. Realism to Plato in the 4th century BC. And nominalism to Parmenides himself in the 5th century BC. Nominalism's primary advocate, however, was the 14th century Franciscan philosopher and theologian, William of Ockham.
The nominalist says, look, there's all the different ping pong balls, you bump into them one at a time. The fact that they're all the same color or all the same shape is a matter of they're resembling one another in various ways. And the phenomenon of resemblance, that's just a fact about how the balls stand to one another.
There is nothing external to the soul, for it is as impossible for a thing external to the soul to be universal in any way as for a man, under any circumstance or aspect, to be an ass. Universals are only names. In the individual there is no universal reality different from that which the individual already is.